Welcome to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter, the show that takes a look at the events and what's happening all around Putnam County, as well as interviews with local, community, and business leaders. And now, sharing his insights and experience, here's Today in Putnam County with County Mayor Randy Porter.
Hey, thanks for joining us this week. I'm County Mayor Randy Porter, and this is Today in Putnam County. My guests this week are two of our top radio personalities here in the Upper Cumberland. I'm talking about Jason and Shelia. Jason Grider and Shelia Scruggs. They do the Good Morning Couples show here on WHUB every morning. I'm glad to have them on as my guests. They're usually interviewing me, so I get to turn the tables this week and interview them. Thanks, guys, for being here.
Well, thanks for having us. We're not on WHUB anymore, though.
You're not?
No, WHUB switched formats to Grace FM. It's now a contemporary Christian station.
Yeah.
And so Sheila and I have switched over to where we're doing nothing but the Hub Plus video format now.
So this is breaking news almost.
Channel 122 on Spectrum in Twin Lakes.
192.
What did I say, 122?
You said 120.
We may need to start all over again, do we?
Kidding. I'll mess up plenty more times
We do
after
that
that.
every time Sheila messes up.
192.
We'll never get this thing done.
Then we're on YouTube. We're also streaming on Facebook. Live in the mornings from 6 to 8, Hub Plus, and Good Morning Cookville.
Right, and the Roku app and all of that stuff.
Did you ever think, I mean, radio was the big thing for a long time. Did you ever think you'd be doing so many different media outlet type things? I mean, it's amazing, isn't
Not
it?
when I first got started in this, but now you have to be. I mean, everything, Facebook's a transmitter, Instagram's a transmitter, your TV's another transmitter. Everything is in radio, if you look at it, is just another transmitter. Yeah. And you have to be on all those transmitters or you don't hit everybody.
Everybody's looking at something different.
Right. It's not like it used to be at
not
all.
Just one or two media.
That's right.
Speaking of WHUB and the changeover, how's that going? Contemporary Christian
it's
now,
going
right?
great. It's one of those things that we saw, 8-10 months ago that was wanted in the Upper Cumberland, and just took us a while to get there, make those plans, and make the switch over to it. And so far, so good. It's been a week, 2 weeks, and a lot of great positive.
I've heard a lot of good
feedback.
Comments about it.
So,
yeah.
And, Christian music's not like it was when we were kids. The best we could hope for was Striper.
Yeah.
Or
Amy Grant when we were growing up, yeah.
But now there's so many more that sound as good or better than any of the other formats that are even out there. Christian listenership in 2024 was up 45%.
Yeah.
And which is huge.
It is big. Now, I only have one request. This is coming from several people I've heard. Need to mix a little Southern gospel into it now.
Well, I have heard that too, but that takes away from contemporary Christian, and who knows? We may get there. Maybe we have a hour or two.
Show
or
or
something
featured
like
show.
that.
That'd be nice.
Hosted by Randy Porter, of course.
Hey, I'd love to do that. That there's a lot of folks out that still love the old gospel stuff and everything. So, 70 years combined between you two of being in the radio business.
Well, that makes us sound real old, Randy.
But think about that, the experiences that you've had. I was thinking about, just since y'all been doing the morning show, every weekday morning for 2 hours, you're doing live. There's no editing.
Well, I mean, that's how we started. I started live radio. He did too.
Yeah.
And that's actually what we prefer is doing it live, because there's nothing like, trying to recover from something if you mess up, which I do all the time. He calls me out on that, but we pick on each other.
Yeah. Is it kind of hard living in her shadow?
Yes, it's
Thank
very
you, Randy.
It's very hard living in the shadow that is Shelia Scruggs. You know.
May not be a good shadow.
I've known her a long time.
Feeling it right
Yeah,
now.
well, I am. Yeah. She's glowing over here, and me and you're
we're
just kind of here.
Yeah,
You know.
that's
Yeah.
right. The Sheila's world. We just live in it.
That's why I have my green on, so I get noticed.
Yeah.
Now we know why she wore the green.
Oh, I can tell you.
Somebody told me it's not St. Patrick's Day today, and I go, it doesn't have to be. Green with red
No,
hair goes
but-
great.
Hey, it makes me stand out.
But producer David, just think what you could do with green screen technology on Sheila's shirt
Yeah, he
today.
could really
We
make
could
me
have
look
a lot
bad.
of fun with Sheila Scruggs. That's all I'm saying.
Go ahead, Dave, if it makes you laugh.
Whatever makes you laugh.
Yeah.
So, what's a normal day like for you guys? I mean, you're having to get up early in the mornings, and both of you don't stop when the Good Morning Show is over with.
No, I think a lot of people think that.
Yeah, I mean, both y'all are still working. Jason,
Yeah.
you're the general manager now.
Yeah. It's been just a little over a year now that I've been the general manager of the stations, and
And Sheila, you're his boss. So how does that all work now?
No, he's my boss. I know. I try to act like boss a lot of times. I'm an account executive. I help with sales. I'd rather say I'm a marketing professional because that's really what I've done my whole life, and be on the air and help people market, which I really I did with Willow Window for a little bit. Did their marketing for a little while, but then I'm full time at the radio station now. So it's really just an extension of really being on the air.
So you're on the air in the mornings at 6
Yep.
for 2 hours. So you're up at least 5, if not earlier, to get in and do the show.
I got a lot of primping to do. I can't come in looking as good as Sheila, so I
She
probably
just gets up like that, right?
You know, so I got to get up 30, 45 minutes earlier so I can get my primping in. But yeah, I mean, I've been used to getting up now for this early for so long that even if I'm not working that day,
You're still getting up.
I'm still up.
Your body's used to it, right?
Right. So, might as well. And honestly, that 6 to 8 is probably the most fun time that I have.
Yeah.
What?
Other guys get up and go fishing or golfing.
We got it on video.
Okay, good. I got that, huh?
That's my fishing and golfing.
Yeah.
I always tell my wife, that's my Dungeons and Dragons.
It's true, yeah. That's our passion. We
Yeah.
really, that's what we've done
It's
for
not
over
a
30
job
years.
if you love
Yeah.
it, right?
No, well, that part's not. Is it a pain to get up some more? Absolutely. But once you're here and you're doing it and you're doing a live show, it just feels really good that in doing it. It's just a fun thing to be doing.
So isn't one of the hardest things that you do trying to schedule your guests?
Yes.
Well, Sheila does all that.
I know, and I was just thinking that I know how hard it is just for scheduling one show a week. I can't imagine what you go through trying to get them for every morning.
Thank you, Randy.
I think she probably needs a raise, Jason. We need to talk about that.
That's too
we'll do
bad,
that during the
Randy.
break, okay?
All right.
You'll get your cut later.
But that is a lot of work, though.
It's hard. It's hard on being on everybody else's schedule and finding out what's coming up, the events, who's interesting. And some people think I don't have a story to tell because I said we mainly want to know your story.
Yeah.
What is your story? Well, I don't have a story. And then getting them to open up.
That is
the
true.
schedule.
Everybody thinks they're boring until they find out that they're not.
They're not.
Yeah.
Everybody has a story.
Everybody does.
You just
And
got to get them
that's
to
what you
tell
like,
it, though,
too.
right?
That's why you're so good at doing interviews. You
Yeah.
want to find out.
You want to draw it out of them, and some of the best guests I've had, it wasn't talking about what the topic was that we originally started to talk about. It was once you got into their personal life and the things that maybe they had to overcome, illnesses and diseases or hardships or different things. Or I had a couple on the other day that they were sweethearts from back when they were teenagers.
That's a sweet story. Yeah.
And come all the way up and got married and had kids, and you to
And they
hear-
probably didn't think they had a story.
No, they thought that was just every day, and I thought, no, that's
No,
not.
that's a neat story to
It
tell.
is.
Yeah.
But as hard as it is to schedule people, I don't know what I'd be doing if I didn't, because I would miss it so much, because now I'm so interested in getting folks in and us talking to them and making them feel comfortable and then finding out what their story is,
Yeah.
that I would totally miss that if we didn't do it.
Well, I have a goal in life is that I want to be one of the old men at Hardee's
Yes,
that sits around and talks to all the other old men at Hardee's.
discussing all the issues
So I
and
figure
resolving
at
everything.
least this way, I'm getting some good practice.
You are.
I think he's going to bring whittling back.
I'm going to try to bring whittling back.
Hey,
yeah.
that used to be.
Used to be a
my
thing.
great grandfather taught me how to whittle, and they used to sit on the courthouse square.
Yeah.
Oh,
and,
yeah. Talk about the problems
Those
of the
are
day.
the cool
Yeah.
guys, man. Those are the guys who really made the decisions around town.
Right.
Yeah. Even in his 80s, he walked to town every day, sat at the courthouse
Really?
and whittled, and then he'd walk home every day. And I always wondered what kept him going. It was that.
Yeah.
It was all that walking and exercise that he
And
did.
then meeting with some of his
Meeting with his-
favorite people.
yes.
And there wasn't no Facebook back then and keeping
No.
up with the news. That was the news. You found out from everybody else.
And he gave him something to get up
Yeah.
for
That's
every
right.
morning,
Yeah.
you know. And back then, to live to be in your middle 80s, that was a big deal.
Huge.
Yeah, big
Still
deal.
is.
It still is,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah. We got to take a break. You're listening to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. I got Jason and Sheila on as my guest. I'm getting to turn the table and doing the interviews on them. We got some great stories of their life and where they came from. Stay with us.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. My guest this week, you hear them on the morning show, Good Morning Cookville. It's Jason and Sheila, Jason Grider and Sheila Scruggs. And we're talking about the show, and we're talking about their lives in radio, both having long histories in radio, and so glad to have y'all on. Sheila, I was talking in the break. I remember the first time I met you, Sunny 95, I guess
We've
it
known
was
each other
back
a
then.
long time.
We
yeah.
have.
You were at 8911.
I was, and I met you. I came to the radio station to do an interview for something that we were doing, and they introduced me to you. That's back in Larry Nunn days, I guess.
That was back in my
95.
20s, maybe mid-20s.
Yeah. So
Boy, I was a baby.
what got you into radio? What made you want to do radio?
Oh gosh, there was this girl that went to my church. She did radio, and I was thinking it's so cool to know somebody in radio. Then I was thinking, well, maybe if she could do it, I can do it. And she was in Fayetteville, Tennessee. And then I thought, well, I'll be the next Barbara Walters. I thought I'll do TV and radio,
Yeah.
which, being Barbara Walters.
You
isn't
had
as
big
easy as
dreams,
it could
though,
have-
right? Yeah.
Kind of to be started in Shelbyville, and then for a couple of years got started there, and then moved to Cookville. My husband and I did. Tim
Yeah.
met through radio, and then Sunday night I started at WHUB actually with the medleys.
That's right. You first did, didn't you? Yeah.
And then switched to Larry Nunn and Bob Gallagher, Drew Huffines. They were all at Sunny 95, and switched there, and then been Cookville
Ever
since like
since.
91 or 92,
Yeah.
and then brief stint in Missouri for a little bit, in Cape
We
Girardeau.
don't talk about that.
But we don't talk.
We got her back.
Yeah, it was
Then I came back, so
Yeah.
it was just like a year there, and then we missed Cookville because let's face it, it's pretty good in the Upper Cumberland.
Live in a great community, don't we?
So, I came back. I said, get me back to the Upper Cumberland. But yeah, like working with Larry Nunn and even the medleys and learning all I did from the folks that I met, really, without all of that, I wouldn't be here today. And then, of
Yeah.
course, I got out of radio for a little bit, and Jason brought me back in, so y'all can blame him.
Yeah, we got you over to the development district and had you out
That's
for a
right.
while, and then
Yeah.
reeled her back
And
in.
Jason's like,
thank
come on
goodness.
over here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't think I want
You
to.
don't need that government job.
And now he
Come
can't
back
get
to
rid of
radio.
me. Now I'm back. I'm
Yeah.
back, baby.
Is it kind of like, we were talking earlier that if you love it, it's not really a job.
If you love it, it does feel like it's your passion. You've got to do it or else. Kind of like these folks that write songs and feel like they got to write a song, even if they're nobody. That's how we
Yeah.
are. It's like you feel like you got to be doing something in radio or with your community.
It's your life, isn't it?
Well, it's like once you get
It's
into it,
addictive.
it
Yeah.
becomes community.
Yeah.
It's like when something major, like when I was out of radio for a year or two and something major happened. I remember I was out of radio when Michael Jackson passed. And I thought, I feel like I need to be on radio talking about this.
Yeah.
And I just felt like nobody else got what a significant that was or any kind of news that really happened. And you were not on the air at the time. You feel like I got to be telling folks about this. I got to see what everybody else is thinking about it. So it's more the curiosity of
Keeps
it.
you
I guess.
going. Jason, you were born in radio almost,
Oh,
wasn't you?
yeah, I
Your
couldn't help
dad?
it. Yeah, I couldn't help but be in this. So I always tell people God only gave me one talent. This is it. So if I'm not doing this, then
You started when you were, what, 15 or something?
Well, I started getting paid for it when I was 15.
Yeah, I know you got the freebie stuff where you had to do work for your dad. He was big in the radio.
Well,
right?
he was Tommy G. He was the weatherman for a lot of years, but before that, he did afternoons on what is now the Country Giant. It was Q94 back then, and I'd go with him to the radio station, and I'd run the American Top 40. It came on record then.
That was big.
And Roger Ely would go to the back of the room and fall asleep. So I'm in first grade running American Top 40 with Casey Kasem.
He's gonna get you for telling on him.
And then he don't care. He didn't care then. He sure don't care now. But my payment was I got to take the records home.
Oh, wow.
And that had all the top songs on it.
Yeah.
That was
To
big.
me, that was like getting a gold bar.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. So
Did you ever get out of radio? Have you always stayed in it?
I got out for a little while just to see what else I could do, and come to find out I'm not a total idiot. I
To
can
find out I'm better at doing other things than he is, but hey.
I could do some other
There's
things.
other
I
things. Yeah.
spent a couple of years working at the Old Gray with Chris Landers,
Yeah.
which was a tremendous amount of great experience. And honestly, the reason I felt comfortable taking on a general manager job.
Yeah.
And, I was lucky to have, 2 or 3 really good businessmen around town who poured into me a lot of knowledge within a short amount of time. And, without those men, I probably would have never taken this on because I wouldn't have felt qualified to do it. And to be honest, there's a lot of days I leave the radio station and still don't feel qualified to do it.
Well, the day that you probably do get to the point that you feel it's probably time to retire, that's if we're not still learning.
That's right.
If you're not learning, it's not good. Y'all had some great mentors. I was at Buffalo Valley this past weekend, and they had a special thing down there with bluegrass music. State was putting on, and Mr. Medley was there. Mm-hmm. And he said, Randy, if you saw what we got back here, because they got some of the transmitter and all stuff said is a display back there. And I was looking at that, waiting for it to start, and I was thinking, wow, I don't know how they did it back then.
It's cool to hear about.
It
They
is.
were one of the first in the whole state.
He was.
To start the radio station.
He was telling me the story that the mailman that ran down there where they lived, he said back then people didn't have radios in their cars.
Mm-hmm.
The mailman had 2 in his car. And he said he taught my dad, he said, you need to put a radio station in Cookeville.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the start of it, was that rural mail carrier.
That radio station really set Cookeville up.
Mm-hmm.
In Putnam County, a lot of people don't know I-40 wasn't even supposed to come through
It
here.
wasn't.
And that's because of the radio station in the Medleys.
It was.
There's a lot of reasons Cookeville has things now was because 80-something years ago, the Medleys were smart enough to say,
Move that interstate over a little this way.
Here's what we're going to do.
Would have been Sparta.
Would have been Sparta, yeah. That's why there's that big curve before you get to Putnam County.
Turn it around
That's
here
right.
and bring it down. I was thinking back some of the great guys. You talked about Bob and Drew Huffines and
Larry
Nunn, Gene
Bobby.
Davidson, Eldon Burgess.
Worked with all of them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Bob and Drew are still the smartest radio people in this town.
We got to say Stacy Mott, too.
Stacy Mott, I forgot about him. You had a lot of great mentors, and to think the way they did radio back then, I mean, they're doing it all. I mean, it's not computerized. They're popping the records. They're doing the whole thing, and I think back about and I don't know why I have this memory stuck in the back of my mind, but it was a big deal back then. Was when they announced where all the fires were.
Mm-hmm.
So you had a special thing that if the Cookeville Fire went out on a call, they would announce it on WHUB and tell everybody where it was at.
Yeah, I remember Larry Nunn had us doing that at Sunny 95, and I thought, this is the dumbest thing in the world. because I was young, and I was
Yeah.
listening to Y107 and
Yeah.
KDF, and I wanted to be one of those guys.
One of
Like,
those
they made
guys.
me read the obituaries. I'm
Right.
like, come on.
I
Who
didn't want to
listens
be the
this?
fire report guy.
Fire report obituary
I didn't
girl.
want to do that.
Wolfman Jack.
I
what
wanted to
wasn't
do
that?
something cool. I want to be
Yeah.
on Y107 or KDF
Yeah.
or something like that. Not, fire's a tragedy. Can you remember you had to live read the spots?
Was it
It was brought to you by
LW Leg Insurance was
Yeah.
one of them?
It was
Yeah.
LW. Like, it did switch over to Hooper and Huddleston
Yeah.
Funeral Home there for a little bit, but
That was for the days, weren't they,
Yeah.
with all those things going? Hey, we got to take a break. You're listening to Today in Putnam County, interviewing Jason and Sheila from the Good Morning Cookville show. Stay with us. We'll be back.
And now back to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.
Welcome back to Today in Putnam County. I'm your host, County Mayor Randy Porter. Got Jason Grider and Shelia Scruggs on as my guests today. They are the stars of the Good Morning Cookville show that's on every morning from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Interviewing them instead of them interviewing me this week. And they are great folks, and we're glad to have them. Got a lot of years in radio, and we were talking about WHUB and how it got started. Jason, 83, 84 years old.
I think it'd be 84 years old this year.
Oldest radio station in Upper Cumberland.
Oh yeah, one of the first in the state.
Isn't that
It
amazing?
was like the second in the state, possibly second or
I don't know where
but it's
where
like
it lands.
the very first in Upper
Yeah.
Cumberland.
But that's for us to have that radio station put us on the map.
It
didn't it?
did. It helped not only have a radio station, but it also, begat our first cable system we had.
Cable TV, yeah.
Yeah, it brought so much to the Upper Cumberland. It broadcast, Tennessee Tech football games across the country. Back then, MTSU and Tech would play on Thanksgiving Day, and they'd play that in Nashville and Houston, Chicago. They'd play it all over the place, and it all originated from here, WHUB. So the history that WHUB has is just incredible.
Did you ever think that you would be doing your show on Channel 7, what we used to call Channel 7 on cable TV?
Never did.
That's what 192, I guess,
Yeah.
on cable.
Right.
But that used to be the thing, isn't it? You got all your news,
Oh,
you got
yeah.
the
Oh,
weather, you got everything scrolling. You had to watch it to see if schools were
That's
going to
right.
be closed or not. Now your Good Morning Cookville show's on it.
Yeah, I never would have thought ever. Well, I really think, and the way Cookville's Putnam County, the Upper Cumberland itself is growing, that I think probably within the next 3 to 5 years, Cookville's going to need a full-fledged TV station.
Yeah.
Not that saying, and again, every time I say that, I never want people to think I'm talking bad about WCTE,
Yeah.
because they do an incredible job with
Yeah.
what they do. But, Cookville's going to need its own nightly news, maybe. It may need, whatever that is that 2, 4, and 5 are giving Nashville. We're going to have to, 17, but, we're going to have to do that for Cookville at
in the
some
Upper
point.
Cumberland.
And, being the first ones to do it, my grandpa always used to tell me, if you're the first one or only one to do it, well, then you're going to succeed.
Right.
And so now we are the first and only. So hopefully that pans out for us.
Been a great change, even with y'all having my show, and you're on YouTube and all the social medias and everything. It's amazing that
It is.
and how many more people say, I saw you on my cable TV channel. When you
Yeah.
start that?
And all of us are just getting started with
Yeah,
that.
it's
So
brand new.
Who knows where it's
we're
going to
go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, the possibilities are really endless. I
They
mean,
are.
you can do so many different things. And, I know the younger generation, they see this as a way that they can get into the media business. Radio may not be their thing, but video is, because that's
Yeah.
what they're used to consuming, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram,
YouTube or
TikTok,
whatever it is,
whatever it
yeah.
is. So they're used to consuming video now. So we have to be in the business of giving them that product.
Right. It's great. It's exciting to be in. Cookville Lifestyles, most influential people. Sheila,
Yeah,
I know
we
you
still don't know how we got that.
were picked. Was Jason picked in that
I think it was probably him, and then they said, "Hey," they threw me in
Well,
there
I
to
don't know
begin
about
with.
that.
I mean, general manager of the station
I still feel like they ran out of people.
for them to
Yeah.
choose both of us.
We need 2 more people. Who could we get? Jason and Sheila will show up to get their picture made.
They'll say yes. They like getting their
They
picture
don't care.
made.
They'll do it.
That's an honor, though.
It really is.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it is.
And
I mean,
especially with the class of people that we were in there
Oh my
with.
gosh.
Absolutely.
I mean, real like important,
Yeah,
influential people.
Buffy out at the hospital.
Yeah. We shouldn't even be in the same breath as
Yeah,
that.
I
when you
mean,
think of the folks that y'all touch every morning, thousands of people listening to you, and that's big. I mean, how many other people can say that? Well, I went to work for 2 hours this morning and I touched 40,000 people and heard me this morning. I mean, you.
Did you hear that? Randy Porter said we reach 40,000 people. So if you're an advertiser, that comes
Advertise
straight
on Good
from
Morning
Randy
Cookie.
Porter's mouth.
Hub Plus and Good Morning Cookie.
40,000 people.
Sounded good anyway,
Completely
did it?
endorsed by,
Yeah.
by Randy
Thank
Porter.
you,
Just
Randy.
wanna
You
make
do
sure
a great
everybody
job.
Heard that.
But speaking
funny.
of great job, I know I want to brag on him a little bit. I pick on him a lot, but it was his idea to start us on Hub Plus, on
Yeah.
moving forward with the TV thing. He's doing a great job as general manager and just really good at knowing what the staff needs as well. Because there's so many different personalities
Oh, yeah.
anywhere you work, but especially in radio with sales and
Well, I
then the
know
air
when I
staff.
first started telling Randy, hey, Randy, I've got this big idea. We're going to be on TV. And Randy gave him this look like, okay,
Well, I'll
Whatever you
decide
say,
what.
Jason.
we'll see.
Now Randy's on TV.
Ain't that cute?
Hey.
No, pat me on the- ain't that cute, Jason? And now, but we finally did it. So
did
maybe
it.
have
Randy's defense, though, he does have a lot of ideas, and you're
He
like,
does.
which one is he going to throw and
Yeah.
stick now?
Well, here, I was telling you earlier about those men who poured into me. I learned that not every good idea is a good idea.
No.
Still could absolutely be a good idea.
Sometimes until you try it, you don't know if it's a
That's
good
right.
idea or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you tried it, and it's turned out
luckily
great.
we've got people who believe in it. It's like John Norris here at Willow Window, who
Beautiful
I mean,
studio.
come
This
on.
is amazing.
I mean, that guy, changed the world for us.
He did.
Yeah.
He really did. One of you said, and I think it was in the magazine article I read, that your show is Cookville's breakfast table.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you mean by that?
Well, that we like to talk to people, and we try not to make it to where it's, a lot of things you have to be one side or the other right now. And if your family, a lot of times your family is there for breakfast, or maybe you got a friend there, maybe you don't have really anything in common with them, but they still have a great story to tell. They're still in our community, and we need to be part of that.
Yeah.
And it needs to be in a way that everyone feels comfortable in telling their story, and who's not comfortable having a bite of breakfast.
Yeah.
But
We're sitting around your front porch talking. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how we look at it. Hey, we got to make you feel comfortable. We want you to tell us. We want you to feel like, hey, this is a good place for you to just be yourself.
Yeah, I just remember back in the day, hanging out again. This is back to my grandpa, but they'd go places, and there'd be these other old men, and they could be a mixture of Republicans and Democrats and independents, and this person thinks that, and that person thinks that. But when it came time to haul hay, they all got together.
They all were there, weren't they?
They were all there.
I remember that.
Pitching in, and they may have had different ideological. One may be Baptist, one's Church of Christ. Didn't
care, didn't matter.
And to me, that just really struck a chord with me, and I still think about that now, because we've all did a terrible job. We've made politics our god, and
We're polarized too
and,
much, aren't we?
that's not what we should be doing.
Yeah, it's if we could depolarize some and get back to those days, because
I mean, there's-
I was raised up in that same kind of
Me
stuff.
too.
You were too.
I mean,
yeah.
when we were talking about whittling earlier, that's what my grandpa did, whittle and talk to everybody. He didn't care if you went to this church or that church or what politics you were on.
As
They
long as
just
you
talked
weren't
about the news.
Sorry and no account.
Yeah.
If
Sorry,
you-
no account and lazy. They didn't want anything to
They
do
didn't want
with it.
nothing to do with
that.
that. There wasn't many of them, but everything else was okay.
You're
wasn't it?
sorry and no account. Well, then we're done with you.
What's next? Is there something on the horizon that you?
Well, we've been so busy, and by getting some of these first things done, and right now we're working on some solutions for for digital, and we don't know exactly where those are going to land yet, but
it's fun trying.
Yeah.
So we're just taking what we've got and trying to make it a little bit better every single day.
Well, y'all are doing a great job, and you have with the show, and for both of you to stay into this business all of those years. I mean, radio it's been tough with all the
It's like
competition.
life in general, it just ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
There's ups and downs in any.
Yeah,
anything.
you get competition from satellite radio. That was the big thing for a while, and then now everything's online and everything.
Only 13% of people are subscribing to satellite. So I mean, that's
it never turned out to be what everybody thought it was going to be.
Why pay $12.99 a month where you can get it for free?
Yeah, and everybody's got a station too. I mean, you got so many different choices of what kind of music you want to listen to and everything.
And that makes everybody better.
It does. I think so too. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having us.
Thanks for what y'all do. Y'all been great to me, and I appreciate everything y'all do. And keep doing the show, and it's interesting and it's newsworthy, and you keep the people informed of the things that y'all having on the show. And I think it's
fun. We appreciate that. Thank you for saying that.
Thank you for inviting us here. That was our honor too.
Well, glad to have y'all. Thanks for joining us this week. Hope you'll have a great rest of your week, and may God continue to bless Putnam County.
You've been listening to Today in Putnam County, hosted by Putnam County Mayor Randy Porter.